regarding Ebola. The concerns, should the U.S. impose a travel ban to quote-unquote hotspot regions on West Africa? Or could this interfere with the efforts of healthcare workers from this country fighting the disease there?
Well, when it comes to Ebola, this is a serious situation and it's a real threat. And I do support the travel ban. I don't believe my opponent in the last debate articulated she does not support that. I believe it's time. I believe that's a reasonable, common sense type of policy to put forward in order to make sure that we are safe here on American homeland. And if the president doesn't want to do the travel ban, I do believe we need to consider some type of quarantine type policy for people that are traveling from the hot zone back to America. That makes sense, and we can do it. We can do it in a correct way, making sure we respect due process, but what we're talking about is a serious illness that has a mortality rate of 50 to 70%, depending on where you get your care. And when I see news reports coming out of Washington, D.C., where the Department of State is trying to articulate policies where we're going to bring non-Americans into American soil to treat the Ebola situation, that's not right. That's putting us at risk. And when we make these decisions, the fundamental thing that I always look to is how does this impact the safety of American citizens, our fellow residents? And I will continue to carry that forward as we go and deal with situations like Ebola.
It is absolutely vital that we keep Americans safe, no question. And public health is an extremely important area in that. This is not just about war and peace. It's about public health every single day. Now, I'm not a physician. My opponent is not a physician. I think it's critical. Facts matter. It's critical that we listen to the medical experts, and they're unified in saying that a travel ban would actually be counterproductive, would make it more dangerous for Americans. Now, when they change their minds, if they advise that there should be a travel ban, then I would support that. But facts matter. This is a very serious disease, but look, we saw that the unfortunate man in Texas who died, his family lived with him while he was infectious. None of them got the disease. Only the nurses who treated him and dealt with his bodily fluids. This is a little bit personal, right? But it's important. This is a teachable moment because all of us need to know. Fear-mongering is not productive. Facts matter. The American people need to be able to trust their public officials. And when their public officials are politicizing an issue, saying, that this is so dangerous that, we have to quarantine everybody, that is counterproductive. Now, as I said earlier, it also is counterproductive to cut the budgets of the agencies that are doing the research, that are doing the public health, the frontlines work. I support the nurses and the frontline workers who are working hard. I've been supported by the nurses in this race who are working hard and risking their lives. And the American people need to know the difference between the truth and fear-mongering. A travel ban is not recommended by the medical professionals, and not until it is, I would not support a travel ban.
Well, I think my opponent said something that clearly sets the contrast between her and I. She said you have to trust public officials. I trust you. And also, you know what I trust? I trust common sense. You have a threat like Ebola. We shouldn't be bringing people here, non-Americans in particular, to treat them and expose American citizens to that risk. It's a risk that I don't think is warranted nor acceptable. And that's why we support the travel ban as we go forward. Common sense. And one of the things that this also articulates, and we talked about a little bit of immigration indirectly, but our border security must be first and foremost, because our border is a real problem and represents a potential threat. So as people come into America in an unsecured border, I will tell you, we're going to fight to make sure that border is secure as we go forward.
I'm absolutely for border security. That's not what this issue is about. That's a whole other issue where we have obstructionism in Congress and the president trying to work through this. Now, President Obama has deported more people than the last several presidents combined. This is about people.
She's speaking. She deserves nobody cutting in. All right, we're almost done. Everybody's done a great job. Let her finish.
I trust my doctor. I don't know about you. I hope that you trust your doctor, because if you don't, you probably ought to get a different doctor. I'm talking about trusting the NIH, the medical professionals who are putting their own lives on the line. Doctors Without Borders, the people who are putting their lives on the line to fight this disease and fight it in Africa, where we need to stop the disease. That is, and I'm delighted that we have an international coalition, a little bit late, but they're finally on board. Every country participating together to fight this at its source. That's the real way to fight this disease, not by fear-mongering and making people worried about anybody coming in from outside this country.